In real-life martial arts, stances can refer to several things. It usually, however, refers to the position you put your body into right before an attack to give it power. However, stances in fighting games refer to a special state where a character gains access to new moves that would otherwise be inaccessible. Plenty of characters in fighting games have access to a stance of some kind, but what I want to talk about today are the characters who were defined by their use of multiple stances. Some great examples would be Lei from Tekken, Gen from Street Fighter, and Siegfried from Soul Calibur. With those examples, let's go ahead and analyze stance characters and jump straight into their pros and cons. One big thing stance characters have going for them is a diverse range of moves. With each stance a character has, granting multiple moves, a character's move list can get extremely large. And one important thing to note about stances is that it allows us to repurpose inputs for different moves, which would otherwise be impossible. This large moveset allows a character to possibly have an amazing tool for every situation. And with this diversity built into the archetype, it's also safe to say stance characters can be quite confusing, especially if they have more than 2 stances. For an extreme example, Lei from Tekken has 13 stances: Snake, Panther, Dragon, Tiger, Crane, Backturn, Phoenix, Drunken, Playdead, Slide Stance, Knockdown, Face Down, and Sitting Snake, all with their own unique moves. If you've never played against a Lei before, you would definitely have a very confusing and frustrating match ahead of you. Definitely more confusing than if you fought a character like Shaheen for the very first time, a character built around strong fundamental tools. But this diversity is also a big downside to stance characters. Being reliant on stances and their different built-in strengths or weaknesses usually means that their fundamental tools are a bit lacking. They could lack good punishment, invincible tools, or maybe they do have strong fundamentals but those tools are split up among their stances. While this also isn't always the case, if your opponent understands how your stances work, you could also be at a huge disadvantage, making the stance character take greater risks for diminishing rewards. Stance characters also require a lot of effort to properly learn, with some cases a stance changing a character so much you basically have to learn a different character altogether. Past these pros and cons, however, stance characters definitely have the most amount of surface depth. What do I mean by that though? What I mean by surface depth is the amount of things you have to learn before the character is comfortably playable. This is different than what I would call technical depth, which is the depth needed to optimize a character and go past the minimal game plan. Take for instance Kazuya. His gameplay is focused around scoring a knockdown and playing strong okizeme that can repeat this pattern. At the most basic level, this playstyle needs a hell sweep and a mid knockdown like wall standing 3. However, Kazuya is also known to have some extreme technical depth. The most famous example is his perfect electric wind godfist, which is a frame perfect input. However, with a character like Lei, you'll need to spend more time at the beginning to understand his fundamental game plan, despite him not having anything extremely technical like the perfect electric wind godfist. This isn't to say that stance characters are hard or easy. A huge portion of fighting as or against a stance character is knowing the matchup, and while I will agree knowing the matchup for any archetype is important, stance characters trend towards taking the greatest amount of risks. It's what allows them to have such diverse movesets. So, if your opponent knows the matchup, you'll have to play much harder than other characters who, let's say, have simpler game plans that are just as effective. So why play a stance character? Well, there are several reasons I could think of. 1. Stance characters offer an extremely unique playstyle. I would even say that it's on par with that of puppet characters. Having a set of stances that change how your character plays allows you to better express yourself through your character. And with a game plan centered around changing stances, it allows you to better show off your creativity than with a character with a limited but sound moveset. So should you play a stance character? Well, do you find yourself not enjoying rigid characters with an easily defined game plan? Do you wish you could force yourself to make more unique setups or play with more imagination? Do you just want to confuse your opponents who haven't labbed your character? If you said yes to any of those, then maybe a stance character is right for you. If you're interested in learning more about the history of stance characters, I would definitely suggest you take a look at Shun Di from Virtua Fighter 2. As far as my research goes, I'm pretty sure he's the very first stance character, and it's always interesting to see the roots of where these archetypes come from. If you would like to see high-level stance character gameplay, I would definitely take a look at Suiken on Twitch for more Lei gameplay, and Linkors for Siegfried gameplay in Soul Calibur 6. Thanks for watching till the very end, and if you want some more fighting game or anime related content, please hit the like button and subscribe. Also, leave a comment below who your favorite stance character is and why. I bet you could tell from the footage I used, mine is definitely Lei. And yeah, anyway, with that done, have a wonderful day.